Well, lumsan seo tá Aisling Mccarthy agus fáilte mór rimpi imreoir hibrad Árann agus inis ina tríú héisiir among leis na Eagles agus is cínte ahrú óna Bulldogs. Aisling, you're really welcome. Thanks a million for coming on to chat to us. And how has it been with your change for the third season and moving to the West Coast Eagles?
Thanks a million for having me. Yeah, I'm really enjoying life here in Perth and with my new club, the West Coast Eagles. So obviously it was a very kind of foreign thing to do to transfer clubs, as you know, like at home, once you get handed your club jersey and you're honoured to represent your county, you don't really play for anyone else. So it was a bit of a strange thing to do, and it took a lot of guts. I kind of lost sleep over making the decision, but I'm really glad that I have done that, just both for like my football and also my career, and then just life experience in general, getting to see a new part and meeting part of Australia and meeting new people. So it's been a really good experience so far, and I'm really enjoying it.
And actually, you're qualified as a physiotherapist, but I suppose it's great to get the chance to be able to develop that skill as well, along with playing with the Eagles now.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that when I was chatting to Aflw, who was the football manager in the club, he really wanted to get to know me on a personal level and what my values were. And you know, my physio career is something that's really important to me, and I've learned that over the last 12 months as well. And that sport isn't going to be up there all the time, and it can easily be taken away if you get injured, or as you've seen with COVID as well. So to be able to develop my off-field career was really important, and West Coast have enabled me to do some shadowing in the clinic that's attached to the club. So it's not official work, but it enables me to keep up my skills and learn from different things that people do over here from top class physios. So that's something as well that did sway my head when I knew that I had to continue to develop my physio career as well as developing as a sports person.
And Aisling, you've definitely had, you know, great statistics from starting off 3 seasons ago with 6 goals in 7 games and impressive stats all through. But what have you noticed that's different, I suppose, in moving from the Bulldogs to the Eagles this season?
Yeah, so I probably predominantly would have played in the forwards in my first season, and you know, it did take a good while to get used to the rules. And I think in your first couple of games and that, you're really kind of overthinking it, and you don't really know what the right decisions are. If you do something, you're always second guessing yourself, even if it was the right thing to do. So I think just even being in my third season, I've got a lot more comfortable in how I play the game, and I've kind of got to know what my strengths are and what I can bring to the table. So I think that's something that West Coast have helped with as well, just to get to know me as a footballer. And I think that they play me to my strengths as well. So I'm playing more in the middle, just around the contested football. So when it kind of gets hot and competitive, I think that's where I bring out the best in myself. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment, getting around the dirty ball and just trying to get it going our way. And I'm really relishing the challenge. And you know, we've played against 3 top sides, so it has been a difficult challenge, but one that I think I'm growing into each week.
And I suppose coming up against now for the Giants in round 4, you're looking forward to that game. But even if it's been a tough start, there's still a lot of positives, I'm sure, that the coaches have been able to take from the first 3 rounds as well.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, we have played against probably 3 contenders for the Premiership. So even just to be able to patch together some really good play in parts of the games has been great. And especially last weekend, I think up until half time, we showed glimpses of what we are capable of. And it's just now about being consistent. And so to come up against Giants now at the weekend, it would be a different challenge. They're obviously coming off a win as well, so their confidence will be a little bit high. But I think we're building belief as well. And just as long as we stick to the process and the game plan, I think that we can potentially come away with a win. So we are looking forward to it. But, you know, it will be another challenge. And it's week on week, and you really just have to get on with it and not think of the losses and not let them kind of be a burden, and we just learn from them and move on to the next week, to the next game.
Well, for every game and every week, you've definitely been impressing, Aisling. And last week you were for Ireland Women, AFL Ireland's Women, you were the player of the round for round 3, and you're currently top of the leaderboard for the overall Irish Player of the Year. So you've settled in well in the 3rd season. But how easy has it been, I suppose, to transfer from the skills of Gaelic football to AFL, or how difficult has it been at times?
Yeah, I suppose the big thing probably is the physicality and just the mindset over that as well. So obviously it wouldn't really be in our nature to shoulder someone out of the way for a ball, or even just do handoffs and things like that, because obviously it's against the rules in ladies football. So just having a mindset shift and a different approach to the game. And it does take, you know, even a couple of games to get into it. And even with the shortened preseason, because of our quarantine and everything this year, it has taken a little bit of time to get into it. But the physicality is probably the main thing. But then the general skills of the ball, like handballing and kicking, is very transferable. And then obviously just getting used to the different shape of the ball. The oval ball is a lot more unpredictable. So you can't really, when it's going to bounce, you can't really track where it's going to go. So just have to be more on your toes and ready for it to go anywhere. So it can look like a bit of a scrappy game at times, because the ball ends up bouncing everywhere and it can be hard to catch. But you know, it is a good spectacle once you get into it and you kind of know the rules and what's going on. It is a very good contest to watch.
And I suppose, Aisling, it was great to have had the best of both worlds, to have been able to have your time playing the county with Tipperary as well before you returned back. And Roisin Howard is actually nominated for one of the goals of the year as well, with a pass that you gave her that set her up for the goal. So I'm sure definitely from Tipperary, it was lovely to have had that chance to go home, even with COVID. And I know you worked in Tullamore Hospital, but it probably gave a bit of a break and maybe a freshness to go back to the AFLW again after.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, it is the best of both worlds, and I'm so grateful that the Tip management over the last couple of years has welcomed me back into the panel, and I'm hoping again to rejoin the panel this year with a new management. So, you know, as a little girl, I always dreamed of playing for Tipperary, and that's something that I don't take lightly. So being able to come over here, travel to a different part of the world, experience a professional sport, but also go home and be able to put on the Tip jersey is something really special. And as you said, yeah, I'm delighted Roisin Howard's goal is up for goal of the year. So everyone get voting there for it. But yeah, it's really special just to play with the girls I've grown up with, and from, like, you know, my local town as well. And you know, I'm really looking forward to getting home now as well. Hopefully that the games will get the green light soon, and we can have a go at the senior championship once again.
And there's still a great Irish connection, Aisling, as well over there now. I suppose last year you would have lived with Aileen Gilroy from Mayo, with Marie Shoigan for Galway, and, you know, obviously Joanne Doonan from Fermanagh, but you still have the Mayo girls in your contingent with the Eagles this year.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And, you know, it's such a contrast probably from my first season over in Australia. I was just myself and Sarah Rowe in Melbourne. So, you know, we probably did feel a little bit isolated at times, but we met up a good bit. But it's really nice now that we do have, you know, a lot more Irish contingent over here, and just to bounce things off. So yeah, living with Niamh and Grace this year has been brilliant, especially that it's their second year in Perth as well. I'm a complete newbie to this city, so it's brilliant that they're able to show me around to the different spots, where the nice coffee is and the good beaches. And it was just really nice to have a few familiar faces when I walked into the club on my first couple of days.
And with the club, is there much time, Aisling, that you have, I suppose, outside of the training schedule or video analysis, recovery? Is there much free time that you can enjoy going to the beaches and going for coffee like that?
Yeah, that's probably the big thing, why West Coast really do want to develop you off the field as well, because there is a lot of downtime. And especially with our visas, we actually can't work. So a lot of our club mates, the Australian girls, would work a different job as well. So even our captain, Emma Swanson, she graduated from she's a firefighter. She graduated this year. So like, she was on call there a couple of weeks ago for bushfires that were over here. So, you know, like, there is a lot of time where those girls are working 9 to 4, 9 to 3, and coming straight into the club and doing another 6 or 7 hours of, I suppose, what you'd call a second job. So yeah, we have that time during the day, and it is nice to head down to the beach and be able to recover. And it's important that we do take our mind off football. So we do try to, you know, keep ourselves busy away from the club, and the club are really good at making sure that we do fill our time, and that we're not kind of overthinking football, and we have a break from it and things. So it's been brilliant so far, and it's nice to be able to get out and see Perth, I suppose, because I haven't been here before.
That's great to see, and to take advantage of the opportunity. And Aisling, what would it be like, I suppose, with the fans and the engagement from the fans? Like, would they follow the club to the different matches? Would they travel with the team to support them?
Yeah, I suppose, like, we're a new club. So last year was the first season that West Coast actually had a team. But the men's would have a huge membership. They're one of the biggest clubs in Australia. So obviously a lot of them would then transfer to follow the women's team. So there would be a good following. So our first game was a home game against Adelaide, and there was a really big crowd there. But at the moment, there's still some capacity restrictions because of COVID. And then unfortunately, last week, when we went up to Brisbane, there was actually no crowd there because of COVID, and there was a late fixture change. So we kind of have to be adaptable. So this weekend in Sydney, there's going to be a crowd there, and my uncle actually lives up there, so he's going to bring a gang, and they're going to wear the West Coast colours. So it is nice that yeah, fans do travel, and even there might be some fans that are located interstate and they'll head to the game. But we're kind of have to be a bit flexible and adaptable at the moment because, as you know, things can change in a day. So that could be a fixture change, or else crowds might not be allowed, or they might be allowed. So it's different every weekend.
And from those fans, Ashton, that have come along, would you find that they're as vocal as the ones you have in the GAA and ladies football at home, or are they a quieter bunch?
Yeah, they'd be similar enough. You know, but you kind of, once you're playing the game, you're kind of absorbed in what you're doing. So I suppose we haven't experienced a win yet, but hopefully at the weekend we'll experience a win and get to enjoy I suppose a cheer from the crowd after the game. But while you're in the mix of it, I don't think you take that much notice. But I suppose if you score a goal or so, there will be the crowd will go mad the same as at home. So it is nice to have a crowd there. So we're looking forward to being able to play in front of fans at the weekend.
And Aisling, have you found that your confidence has grown to go and take that goal and take it on? I know moving from the forward role to midfield, you know, sometimes you can be maybe further away, but at the same time, you know, you seem to really be explosive when you're going at pace like that. And maybe is it kind of a similarity of playing midfield or Tipperary, that it's kind of, it maybe makes you feel more at home playing in that position?
Yeah, I suppose you're coming at the game from the same area, and you're kind of bursting forward into the forward line. So that's what I potentially would do a lot with Tipperary, kind of get forward from midfield. So it is similar in that way. And yeah, as I said, my confidence is definitely growing with each game I play. I've only played 15 games of AFL women, so I suppose it's not a lot compared to Gaelic football, which I've been playing since I was 6 or 7. So it does take a little bit of time to make sure that your decision making and things like that is right. And I don't get it right all the time, but it's just having the confidence to back yourself. And I think I'm getting better at that each week. And, you know, hopefully now I can help the team over the line at the weekend.
And Aisling, what's the coaching setup like, as in to have maybe the forwards coaches, the midfield and the backs coaches? Are you taken aside individually? Do you get coached as a group after your matches, or how would that be done?
Yeah, so our week will be broken down into, for example, we played, like say we'll play on Sunday, and we'll have a game review on Monday where I actually put into an app my feedback, how I think I went, I rate myself, what I need help with, different things like that. And then my line coach, which would be my midfield coach, would write back different things that I need to work on, what I did well, and then the head coach would do a similar thing. And it might be that, yeah, the next day on Tuesday, I have to head in, and I might have to head in half an hour early and practice, say, my body works. That would be like my shoulder and pushing off of the ball, because that's really important in the midfield area. Or, you know, if I missed a few opportunities, that I practice my goal kicking. And then you'd have team meetings, you'd be able to go through vision with your coaches as well, which is like video analysis. So that would be done as a team, and then it can also be done on an individual level. We train as a team, then out on the pitch, working on what we need to improve on, and for the team the week after. And then we'd head back in, and you might have a light gym session, and then it would be ice baths, and we'd all have dinner together then. A little bit different in season. When it was pre-season, we had gym sessions on a different day, but we kind of head into the club maybe 3 times now during the week. So we have a little bit of a light session tomorrow before we head to the airport and fly to Sydney. So that'll just be a kick around and fix up anything that anyone needs some clarification on over the weekend.
Okay, very good. And again, I know you've learned lots since you've been there, but in 2018, when it was for the draft, Aisling, like what kind of inspired you to go and check out Crosscode? I suppose, you know, you were picked up in that way, but what prompted you, or was it like an advertisement you saw that you thought maybe was something you'd like to do?
I actually remember the day it was 2018 during the summer, and we were playing Donegal. And I think we'd stopped off in a hotel for food, and a message came up from Crosscoders on my phone. And I thought it was a bit of a scam or something. And I obviously ignored it because I had to concentrate on playing Donegal in the senior championship that day. But I said it to my parents afterwards, and they were like, "There's no harm in replying and seeing what it's about." So it kind of, the ball just rolled from there. I did a couple of interviews with the Crosscode team, and then got an email in August at some stage, basically saying that I was invited out to a trial in Melbourne for a week. So I was still probably a bit skeptical, but then I'd heard other girls are going, like Aisling Sheridan, Muireann Atkinson, so I knew it was fairly safe to head to Dublin Airport and get on a flight to Melbourne. And it was a really good week, I think, to head out to Melbourne. It was the week of the AFL men's grand final. So just being able to experience the atmosphere in Melbourne that week. And then obviously we that was the first time I probably picked up the oval ball, and we did some skill sessions and we played a game. So I got to see a couple of clubs, and I think it was just the facilities that blew me away, really. And then when I went back to Ireland after that week, I had a couple of interviews with some clubs. So I think I just kind of was putting my name into the hat, not really knowing where it would take me. But then in October in the draft, I actually got called out to go to the Western Bulldogs. So it was literally just pack the bags and head off. So it wasn't something on my radar before that summer. And it was something I just hedged my bets, really. And I'm really enjoying it now. And as you said, I'm having the best of both worlds, being able to represent Tipperary as well. So it is really nice to be able to do both. And I'm really grateful that I got that opportunity and did just go for it.
Well, 3 seasons in and player of the round after round 3. So definitely number 3 is lucky for you, Aisling, there. But I suppose another question I had with the trials as well, what did that involve for that week that you went out? Like what sort of, I suppose, training was done, or what sort of activities were they looking at during the trial?
Yeah, so we got to go to basically like a club level women's game. So that was really good just to see, and we were kind of getting explained some of the rules on different umpire decisions and things like that. And then the day after we had a training session, so just even learning how to kick. It's more of a drop punt that they do over here. So even just getting used to that, and learning how to tackle properly and safely. Just the basic fundamentals was what we did mostly. And then we did some what they do, the combine testing. So we did a 2K trial, an agility test, vertical jump, what they do with the men's, I suppose, before they're drafted. And then we played a game that week as well against girls that play AFL women's at a club level. And we actually beat them. So I think that's when the heads turned from the coaches of the different clubs. And Ailish Constantine got picked up after that. And Yvonne obviously went up to Sydney as well. So I think that's when the interest really did grow. And obviously Cora Staunton's opened up that pathway the year before. So then it was pretty much getting to visit a couple of clubs if they were interested. And I think seeing the facilities really opened up my eyes. And we were there for such a short time. I think then by that stage, we probably watched the AFL Grand Final just on a TV. Obviously tickets were gold dust, and then we headed home the day after. And yeah, the rest is kind of history then. I suppose I must have left a little bit of a mark, and someone saw something in me, and I got picked up. So it's just went from there then.
And actually, you mentioned Cora Staunton there, obviously be facing up against her with the Giants as well. But how different has it been this year with the amount of Irish players that are now involved in the AFLW?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously, every weekend you have someone to watch on the TV, and you're supporting them from afar. And it's really good to see that everyone is really excelling in their different roles that they have with the team. So yeah, I think the Irish bring like a bit of unpredictability to the game. And even just like you saw probably Aisling Sheridan and Sarah Rowe's goal, and it was a typical drill that you do at Gaelic football, kick it into the corner forward and the wing forward runs off the shoulder and finishes. So I think just little things like that we've learned from a young age, we bring to the table, and we don't really need to be taught it. So I think that we have a good game knowledge based on the fact that we played Gaelic football for such a long time. And then we bring in something a little bit different by like maybe playing on when a lot of the Australian girls might take the mark and slow the game down. And then I think a lot of us can kick up both feet as well, which is important as well to get out of trouble. So it's great, everyone's doing really well, and there's a few people across different lines. So potentially there'll be a matchup between Mayo at the weekend, or even Aisling and Aileen as well. So it'll be interesting to see, and it's great that everyone's doing so well.
Yeah, we'll definitely be looking forward to tuning into it. And Aisling, I suppose you've mentioned already that the Eagles are a new club. The Bulldogs would have been kind of a foundation club, I suppose, in the AFL and the AFLW. But what would kind of the achievable goals be, or what would the outcome be, you know, for Perth at the end of the year that the Eagles would hope to achieve, I suppose, this season?
Yeah, the big difference, I suppose, is that, say, with Bulldogs, this is their 5th season together as a team. They've got 5 pre-seasons together, and they've been able to develop, I suppose, a game plan over that time. Whereas being involved in a new team, we're probably at a different stage in our education around the game, in our game plan, and just I suppose our synergy with each other, and especially the fact that I'm now a new player in as well. So I have to get used to my teammates again as well. So yeah, I suppose the goals will be a little bit different, you know, and I think we're definitely developing, and over the last couple of games we've really showed what we are capable of. So going forward, it's just about being consistent and improving as a group and just building that belief. But there's a brilliant culture in the group, and we're a very resilient bunch. So I think just getting a win at the weekend would put us in the right trajectory to hopefully, you know, get a couple more wins and get up even, you know, a bit further on that ladder. And so at the moment we wouldn't be contenders for the flag, but you know, that's what you are striving for. But I think it will be maybe a couple of years before we'll be able to fully say that we're going to be in contention for a flag.
And Aisling, what sort of players, I know obviously you've played with and against, you know, really top level players in the AFLW since you started, but what sort of names could we be looking out for maybe, and for people at home that are watching the matches?
Yeah, I suppose like the fact I play midfield, I try to look at other midfielders across the competition that are at the top of their game, and that's who I try to mirror my game off. So Ellie Blackburn, actually, who's the Bulldogs captain, is someone that's really excelling at the moment. She's someone I've looked up to. She's a great person both on and off the pitch, and she's probably the best player in the competition at the moment, just on her form across the last 3 games. So she's definitely someone to look out for. And then at the weekend, for Collingwood, Brianna Davey will be playing in the midfield as well. And she's another super player, very strong, very difficult to tackle, and she sets up a lot of the play for that team. So that's another person. And then I suppose she'll come up against the likes of Mccarthy and Jasmine Garner in the midfield for North Melbourne. So that there's really, really good players that will be playing at the weekend in both Collingwood and North Melbourne, and they probably have some of the best players in competition. So you know, you'll have a lot of talent to look at over the weekend on TG Carr.
And I suppose one thing we're noticing as well is the physicality of the game. But have you managed to escape injury, Aisling? Are you injury free at the moment?
Yeah, thank God. I suppose a few bumps and bruises, random ones that you wake up after a game. But yeah, touch wood now, I've been relatively good with injury. I suppose, you know, we're well conditioned from coming to Gaelic football, and then it's about just kind of topping up during the pre-season here, and they do a lot of injury prevention as well. So it is really important to stay fit, obviously, to be selected for the teams. And once the season starts, it is a heavy load. You know, it's 9 weeks straight we'll have games, so it's a recovery is really important. But yeah, thank God, like, you know, a lot of us have stayed injury free, but unfortunately a few people of the Irish girls have missed a couple of games, but hopefully we'll get to see them at some stage.
And I suppose, Aisling, you have the added advantage of being a physio, so you have the expertise in that area to look after yourself as well. But I know your uncle will be going to the game at the weekend, but have you any message for them at home from the watching in Tipperary, or anything you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, I suppose Mom, Dad and my sister Roisin will probably be watching this. So just say hi to them at home, and hopefully we'll get a win at the weekend. And yeah, thanks for supporting me from afar, I guess. I know they'd love to be out here at the games. So it's brilliant that they're able to see it on TG Carr.
That's brilliant. Aisling, thanks a million for joining us, and the best of luck against the Giants at the weekend.
Thanks a million for having me.